Fighting monster forces all around Hyrule is a lot of fun. Lately though, I've been trying not to get my hands dirty or needlessly injure any members of the Hyrule Monstor Control Group because, well,
we have technology!
I invite you to head over to my Zonai Engineering school to learn about how to create your own Zonai construct armies to fight these battles for you. I see it as sort of a real-time strategy game. Managing units and energy wells can be pretty fun, and so is setting up the right units to help win a battle. What better place to start than with infantry or ground units? Any good unmanned ground unit starts with a homing cart, which is basically this game's version of a bomb chew. They will trudge onward towards enemies, and you can simply add emitters to the top of them to create individual units. You can have them working together like ice and fire to constantly thaw, burn, and distract enemies, and multiple units at the same time will usually overwhelm enemy monster forces and let you do your own thing. They can be as simple as a homing cart and emitter combo, or you can build up on top of that base to make something much more complex. For example, you can take a big wheel, slap it to the top of a homing cart, and add a shock emitter to the side, or add one of your own weapons, and watch it basically spin frantically and cleave through crowds of bokoblins while shocking them. It's fun to throw a bunch of these mixed ground units into a big monster forces battle and just see the havoc that ensues, especially if the monster control group decides to get involved and help you out. A strong armed force needs strong aerial units. The simplest build is what I'd call a command center. You attach a 45-degree rotated rocket to the side of a hoverstone. You can put a Zonai head that aims at enemies and a cannon or beam emitter of choice on top of that head. Then you can stand on it and be ferried to the center of the war zone while hellfire rains upon your enemies. It's a great spot to drop down reinforcements or to drop down loads of arrows before making your dramatic captain's entrance. You can combine this with your ground forces to truly overwhelm almost any group of bad guys. Even if these hoverstones run out of battery, you can still reposition them and turn them back on later to create these kind of cool floating cannons or turrets. For hilly or well-fortified terrain, you can even attach this command center build to some ground units by making the connection point the rocket itself. Once the rocket disappears, the infantry will fall to the ground and start the offensive. It's perfect for infiltration-style missions like these fortified hill forts. Finally, and least importantly, we have stationary or defensive turrets. If you're set up for combat in a narrow field of battle, you can help your future self by setting up some simple turrets in the form of artillery Zonai heads attached to stakes. The stakes can be plugged into the ground or walls in any kind of direction or angle that makes sense. They can help hold down choke points and even weaken enemies as they walk through the line of fire to get to you. It just takes a bit of time to set up, and you need to make sure that you always turn them on before you run into the fray. Finally, I put all these three different unit types together. I used a beam and cannon bridge choke point, 2 simple ground units to freeze and burn enemies, and 1 command center so that I can get into the action myself. Always have large charges on hand and watch your energy, since reactivating all your units can mean defeat in the heat of battle. After some repositioning and perseverance, my Zonai army was able to take back the Akala Bridge, at least until, a couple of days when the blood moon comes back.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?